Hi everyone, and welcome to our chat. I've got John Jarvis here and Dean Ellaby. Today we're going to have a chat about what it takes to become an MVP. So, firstly, John, do you want to just kind of give a quick intro about you, where you are, what your status is?
Hi, my name's John Jarvis. I don't know how to introduce myself in honesty. So full closure, this has been recorded on the 26th of April. I'm currently working for CDW. When this comes out, I won't be working for CDW anymore. I'll be an principal enterprise architect at Sicilian. I think you two should probably the first two to know that outside of
Congratulations.
the realms of CDW. But yeah,
Are we
that's
the
kind of
first
what I
to
do.
hear this, or is this new news, or?
No, I told no one knows outside the CDW. I've told Dean to be fair. Before this, yeah,
I
it's
was
it's.
I was gonna say you surely have told CDW. It's not a surprise to them that you've left,
No, I'm just
surely.
walking out. No, yeah,
Okay,
they
right.
know. Yeah, it's
Okay,
within the CW rules. It's known, but I've tried to keep it as quiet as I can. And I'm not a person who likes to keep quiet usually. So it's been hard.
good. So with that in mind, then you are obviously now working for Sicilian. So I was gonna say what's it like, but how would you possibly know?
I'm hoping my first day's been really well.
Yeah,
Everyone I've reached
good.
out to so far has been really cool and stuff. I know Rob Pickenden really well, and who's also a Microsoft MVP. And some guys have reached out on LinkedIn. It's been pretty nice welcome so far, even though we're not quite there yet. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a weird time at the moment. Yeah.
So out of interest, why the move?
Sometimes when an opportunity is kind of there and on the show, like it's hard to say no to it. I could have seen myself working at CDW to the day I retire. But if the opportunity is at somewhere else, and you're not quite given that opportunity where you currently are, sometimes you've got to take it, and I might go back to CW one day. I might go, I might stay at Sin to the day I retire. You never know. Like, you just got to take the opportunities that are presented to you, and grow yourself, grow your career and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where I am now.
Cool,
Yeah,
cool. Well, we're not just here for general chat, by the way. What we want to cover today essentially is what it takes to become an MVP. So, didn't introduce myself, but obviously I'm Andy Jones. We've got Dean and John. We're all MVPs, so probably a great forum to get some information out. So, let's start with you, John. Your recent MVP, is that right? You
Yes, I
this
was
year?
awarded on the 1st of February, which coincidentally was a year since I was nominated. So it was a long nomination process
Yeah.
for myself. But something that kind of me and Dean spoke about quite a lot of times, because me and Dean used to work together for CDW for not so long. Dean wasn't at CDW for too long, but we worked together for a while there, and we had lots of conversations about that type of thing, and it's been good so far though. It's been really good to be an MVP.
So
I
you
mean,
had
I,
to
I
wait
was
for. Go on,
sorry,
Dean.
just to comment on the CDW thing. I was there for like 10 months, so it wasn't that long. But I feel like it was long enough to get to know you and to have these kind of chats that you're talking about.
Oh no, 100%.
But
Like, we've kept in touch and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm only jesting.
yeah.
yeah, not long enough to take over the world, though, Dean. Right?
No, that's where you've got to look for the opportunities elsewhere. And as John said, when that opportunity does come up, then you seize it with both hands.
So in the build up, John, for you, was you searching to become an MVP? Did you aspire to be that? What did you do as part and parcel of that whole process?
I would say yes and no. And it kind of peaked at some points, and then you have your low points and stuff. So I started doing like community type content about over 2 years ago now. So February it was 2 years. I started doing something called the Microsoft Spotlight podcast, and we were talking to people within tech, how about journeys and stuff like that. So we started off with doing like a series on women in tech. It was a area where we thought we'd just put a good spotlight on people within the community who happen to be women, and that kind of small series then took into like a thing where we're still doing it 2.5 years, like nearly 2.5 years later. So we spoke to a lot of really cool people from around like the Microsoft universe, as I'm going to call it. And in that time, kind of, as I said, after about a year or so, I was nominated by a friend of mine called Zoe Wilson, and quite a few nominations. I think I have 5 or 6 nominations kind of all together, but a lot of the things that I saw was, I was told by the people who do all the MVP stuff at Microsoft, was it just wasn't technical. It was like talking and stuff like that, which, is fair enough. So I was like, well, I feel I'm quite technical. Maybe I should start doing this type of thing. But so I started talking at conferences. So I think last year I've done 12 sessions within 6 or 7 months. I started to try to put out some video content here and there, and it's nowhere near consistent compared to like what you guys do. But when I see something, it's like, yeah, I'm going to do video on that type of thing. So I try to keep it a bit kind of a bit diverse in type of content. I do quite a lot of LinkedIn, like carousels and posting and stuff like that. So then it kind of really peaked towards the end of the year. So did I want to be an MVP? I think there was times where I was like, yeah, I really want to be an MVP. Like, this is what I'm aiming for. But it's kind of the wrong thing to do. Like, I think we spoke briefly before this podcast, and Dean quite rightly said, and that was just like, you shouldn't aim to be an MVP, because once you get an MVP, like, that's that type thing. I'm quite enjoyed doing what I'm doing anyway. If I don't get an MVP, I don't get an MVP. That side didn't really matter to me. And then I think that was the absolute perfect attitude to have. Because I think in December time, Christian over in the Microsoft in Redmond reached out to me and was just like really supportive of some of the stuff that done. He then nominated me into the process again. So that was as I said before, my 6th nomination, and that being kind of closer to the program team over on the Windows 365 and Intune side with Megan Hochstatter as well. It kind of, I think, then pointed me in the right direction of kind of what to kind of do. And yeah, from that point onwards, it was. I think 2 months later, I think I was then presented the MVP. I've actually got a funny story around my actual award. So 1st of February happened, and I was told I was kind of told to kind of expect news over on the 1st of February or the 1st of March from our lead in the UK. I was like, oh cool. 1st of February came. Didn't get an email. A friend of mine, Femke Connollyson, she got an email. I'm in a group chat with her. Didn't get it. I was like, okay, fair enough. And then someone reached out to me. Christian actually reached out to me. I was like, did you get no news? And I was like, no. Like, and to be fair, like, my heart's breaking at this point. I was really hoping I was going to get it. I was like, no.
You thought the penny had dropped and that would be it, yeah.
Yeah, and then it got to the 2nd of February. Like, did you not get anything yesterday? I was like, oh no, nothing at all. There was an actual bug with my account, and I never actually got the official email from the MVP email address. There was a bug in the system, and I got forwarded it by somebody else in the end. So I was actually nominated in the 1st. I didn't find out until I think it was like the 2 days after. Right. So a bit of an unconventional way of getting it.
Yeah,
I had something similar actually when I was awarded an issue with my account, and all the notifications that you get once you are awarded, you get some benefits towards being part of MVP, and they weren't coming through, and I was kind of, well, do you know what's going on here? And in the end, I had to get involved with the Microsoft kind of back end team, if you like, and they changed the database or whatever. But then I put that down to the fact that, you know, my name's Andy Jones and there's one or two of us around. So in the same way that I don't get accepted through going through customs at the airport. But yeah, but I want to quickly step back where you mentioned about the fact that you do speak, you speak at events and all of that. That's a big thing, right? I mean, I know, Dean, you're looking to do it. You have done it in some forums, and the way I approach this, I never chased it, and I totally echo what you say, John. I personally think you should never chase it, right? Just see it as a bonus if it comes your way. I took up the YouTube channel as a way of learning because I hate reading. I hate reading books, really, generally. And I took the YouTube channel. I thought, if I'm going to put my face to something, I want to know what I'm talking about, at least, you know, half decent. But speaking, when you do your, you know, your events and all of that, that's a big thing, right? Do you get nervous when you do all that stuff?
I think my first one in person was the Scottish Summit last year, and being the most unprepared person ever, I was still doing the presentation like half an hour before. So I like to kind of do it as late as possible, just because I feel like if I over rehearse and stuff like that, it just doesn't come natural, and
Yeah.
I think then you build up your nerves. But if you're kind of like doing it last minute, then I don't feel as nervous. But in our jobs, like as like a solutions architect, principal consultant, I talk to customers all the time. Like sometimes you have a workshop of 10, 12 customers and stuff like that, and I just think to myself, these guys here are trying to grill me. Like when you're in a workshop, people are like really trying to grill you for information, or maybe you might have some disgruntled employees from another company going, "Oh, why they've got this person in doing this when I could do it as themselves?" And
Yeah.
it's they try to trick you and stuff like that. So I just think to myself, like when you go to a conference, like everyone's there for a reason, and they're here there to support you. So you don't get 30, 40 people in a room if they're not interested or want to learn something. So if you kind of know your subject, which you should do if you're doing a talk on it, then there's not much of a problem in my opinion. I don't get too nervous. So I'm going to
Yeah.
Vegas on Saturday for a workshop on the Sunday. So we're doing a 9 to 4 o'clock workshop at the MGM Grand around Microsoft 365 security. I've got some of the best guys in like the world literally doing it with me. We've got Daly, who works with you, Dean, at Ontinu. You've got Jose, who works at Microsoft as a security architect, and he's unbelievable. And Luke Evans as well, who works in his contractor, so he's here, there, and everywhere. So like, you know, I've got nothing to be nervous about. I know my stuff. I know kind of what we need to talk about. So yeah, it's just about that. The main thing, kind of, when you go and do these talks, is making sure that you have good CFS, that you call for speakers, make sure your sessionize is good, and just go for it at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess to a certain extent, it's a bit like initially when you're doing a YouTube channel. Is it what can, you know, what's the worst that could happen, kind of thing. People generally, you pick up confidence as you go along, don't you? But the other thing you mentioned is the fact that you've got a good group of technical people around you, and that to me is kind of reflects the whole MVP program, right? You know,
Yeah.
the whole community. I know it's slightly different, but there's especially when, you know, Dean and I just came back from the summit and got to know a few people that are in the community, and you've got some fantastic knowledge and skills in those rooms. And when you're around and circled with those sort of people, that in itself gives you confidence, I feel. But
Yeah,
yeah,
how was it at Summit? I just want to say, like, I think the MVP Summit is like the best kept worst secret, if you get what I mean. Like, I assumed when from the outside in, when I saw the MVP Summit, I was just like, oh, it's just all the MVPs are getting together having a beer, and I know you've probably done that, but it isn't just that. Like the amount of sessions, the amount of content is ridiculous. I didn't realize how big and how good it was. It's like Ignite and all these things just on steroids. It's
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't know what MVP Summit was going to be like at all because the previous one I attended was virtual, and I didn't really, honestly, I didn't really watch the sessions because I didn't feel like I was part of it. It was just like another conference like Ignite, which again I didn't really watch much of the virtual sessions because all of that content I thought was elsewhere. I could consume it in a better way than watching a recording of a conference. So when I got there in the first session, it was like there was some marketing in it, but really there was technical people there who were talking technical stuff, and there was no weirdly there was no customers there, right? It was all MVPs, so everything that was talked about was the possibility of being NDA, and there was no kind of concern that you might be giving away a secret if you say something that you've heard from someone else in
Mm.
Microsoft,
Yeah.
because you're all in the same boat, which I think was the biggest benefit of going to that to Summit and being in person was that you were actually there, and
Mm.
you can hear these things being said, overhear conversations, jump into conversations, and you just can't do that virtually. So I'm not trying to beat down the fact that virtual isn't as good, but I don't think it's as good for me. Certainly, I didn't. I don't think I would have enjoyed it anywhere near as much if I hadn't spent
No.
that my own money to head over to Seattle and take part.
To be fair, I think like the best session I've done was when it was live. The timing for us isn't that good. Got kids and stuff, so that 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock thing is just really bad. But there was last Wednesday, I was sitting outside my son's gymnastics, and I was actually messaging you at the same time. We was in like an Intune one together, and that was really interactive. Like even though it was virtual for myself, like I think I was mentioned in the room for something like for some of the stuff that we was chatting about in the Teams chat. So that was by far the best one, just because it was quite interactive. But the rest of it, it's nice to watch the on-demand stuff. But yeah, I just wish I was there in person.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think I just
Sorry, and the Intude Suite team, the people around that are so passionate about what they're doing right now because
yeah.
they've been working on it for literally more than a year, I'm sure, to get all this stuff ready to be in a position where they can demonstrate it to MVPs and have it in private previews and that kind of stuff. So you can see how passionate they are and excited about the things they're developing for Intune Suite right now, and even outside of Intune Suite, like Azure AD, local admin password solution, that kind of thing. That's released now. Incredible. I love that.
Yeah,
And you
Labs
can
coming
see how
out. Like
passionate they are.
I think we all used Cloud Labs previously.
Mm.
Used by the MSM Point Management Team, I think they're called that
Yep.
group, and yeah, fantastic product. But having it right there now is game changing at the end of the day. Like it's real game changing.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, yeah, I echo what Dean says. Being there, probably you can't replace that. But I have watched back some of the videos, and I think it was done really well because they made a conscious effort to involve, the people that were virtual. Having a moderator there all the time, and also making sure they got to the questions of those people that had raised them online. So yeah, all very slick in that respect. Just to kind of allow everyone to be inclusive, and because, like you say, not everyone can make it. And I'm sure people that like to go can't always make it. So yeah, it was a good experience. I'd definitely go back because I didn't know what to expect myself. Dean and
Yeah,
I did a little video on it. Kind of in the treehouse, which I think went quite well. But yeah, I'd
Enjoyed it.
certainly look to go back again. Yeah.
Yep.
So, John, tell us a little bit about what's now your MVP. Has that influenced you in what you content you create, how you think about it now? Is that changed at all?
no, um, no, not all. Like I still try to do exactly. I think everything's kind of stayed the same. The only kind of difference is the stuff you kind of have access to. So in the back end. So obviously, quite a lot of that's in under NDA, so I can't say too much. But like, you get a lot closer to the product groups and stuff like that. And it's not secret. We get private preview stuff and bits like that. Being able to contribute that side of it is amazing. So some of the contributions I do now are a lot more private. Sorry. So helping out with some of the stuff that are in private preview and giving some really cool feedback. don't think this part here will be under NDA, but I was, I was in a Teams meeting a couple of weeks back around something that is under NDA, so I can't say. But having that direct communication with the actual team that were doing the work was just ridiculously like inspiring and kind of like mind-boggling as well.
I mean, just one thing I wanted to quickly say on that is, yes, you gain access to, maybe preview staff and product managers and all that, which is all very well. But it's anyone wanting to become an MVP, I would say you still have to kind of not chase it, but you have to go and seek it, right? It's still down to you. John's right in that you kind of continue as you are. You get invites to calls, like product team calls and new features and all that preview stuff, but you don't. You just continue as you are. I think, in the main, you decide how much you kind of effectively want to get involved. If you producing content, you're doing speeches, blogs, YouTube, or whatever it may be, just continue as you are. And if you don't, then I guess there's a renewal every year and a decision is made. You have to submit the content that you've done with that, that last year period.
And I think that reason, that thing you've just said, Andy, is the reason that you shouldn't make becoming an MVP the thing that you aim for, because you will, if you try, you will probably get it, and you'll get MVP because you do all the things that you need to do it for MVP. But once you've got it, you've got to maintain it. And if all you wanted to do was get MVP, you're not going to have any willpower to sustain it by doing the same things that you've been doing and maybe not enjoying over the past year or 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
Because your goal was to get MVP, and then you'll drop it, because the thing that you should be focusing on is doing the things that the MVP recognition means. Like, giving back to the community, helping out, just helping out generally. That's the thing that you should be trying to do. And if you enjoy that, then MVP will, if you do it well, and if you happen to want to get MVP, then you'll probably get it, and then you'll probably keep it for much longer. And there's people who have MVPs who were at the summit. They've been around for 25 years plus.
Yeah, there was seven. There was 7 of them that have been MVPs for over 25 years. That's mega effort.
It is, and you can imagine that they wouldn't have stayed MVP if their goal was just to get MVP, right? That wouldn't have been sustainable.
No, I totally agree. I mean, for someone who's been MVP that long, right, you do not want to be chasing that for 25 years. Become a bit of a bind, surely, on other parts of your life. But I think we all are in the same thing here, really.
I don't think when you get there though, like you then be. I think you unknowingly do become like a figurehead, like a mentor, you are very much in a public place then. Like I've said to Dean before, like when Dean got his MVP, like even before Dean got his MVP, he was always very much someone I looked up to, like in a way, like I worked with him and knew you very well, kind of like I was just like, yeah, like it inspires you. So like you got to again show that you're doing things for the right reason and stuff like that. And yeah, as I said, I've said many times to Dean, kind of about inspiring and stuff like that, and that's kind of what he's done for me and what many other people have done as well within the community.
Don't big him up too much, John. Come on.
I wasn't going to interrupt you. I wasn't going to interrupt.
I can see that.
So finally, then, John, this has been a lovely conversation. I want to ask one quick question, though. Given what you know, maybe from the MVP Summit that you've seen, or just stuff you know in general, based on your own skills, what would you say is the feature to watch, the one or the technology to watch in 2023?
Can we just double check before, like, with recording, if this is NDA, if it's in public knowledge or not? But Intune PKI is like the certificate authority that's coming into Intune, part of the Intune Premium Suite. Is going to be game changing. I said it to the guys on the program team. It's, for me, I think I've had about 10 customers over the past year who've just I've had to spin up certificates, services, and certificate authorities, and input SCEP certificates into Intune and stuff over the past like year, and that would have saved so much time, effort, money, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If it's not under
And I
NDA,
think-
I'm gonna record another answer as well, if that's okay. Just...
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. You know, if there are two things that you think, oh, I really, yeah, go ahead.
I'm trying to think of another one that might not be under NDA.
Cloud PKI is definitely not under NDA. You're fine.
Okay, cool. I'll leave it at that then.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, good.
We'll leave it at that then. Sorry about the editing.
I'm going to leave it in. It's fine. All right. So this was awesome. Thank you, John, for taking the time out. Hopefully everything goes well with your new job. I'm sure we'll find out soon on LinkedIn when everything gets announced around there. I'm off to MMS in a few days' time, so by the time this is released, I will have already enjoyed that thoroughly. Andy, any closing notes from you?
No, just enjoy MMS. Good luck with your new job, John. Thanks for taking the time.
Awesome. All right, thank you both for your time anyway. Really appreciate it. As I said to Dean, like, I can talk for days, so probably. So yeah, thanks you both for having me.
Great.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.